everyone, or should I say, dearest gentle readers. Right. I don't know if anyone else has watched Bridgerton, but
I was like, what is that?
I have.
I was going to start it off with "It's a girl party." If anybody watched the episode and caught that.
Oh yeah. It's a girl party.
Yeah.
That's why we do polygamy. Like what?
The overselling of the lifestyle is real strong these early seasons. Like,
yeah.
I just hate having Cody around, that pesky husband. He makes everything worse.
Right.
I love
Philly
doing everything by myself.
Right.
So ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have a little bit of a special intro for today. So let's play that and we'll see you guys in about 20 seconds. Okay.
Great.
What is that? It is your birthday period.
It's a statement of fact.
Not even an exclamation point?
All right. That's fantastic.
Keep us from celebrating the man, the myth, the legend himself. Everybody wish a happy birthday to James.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate that. I like the intro. That's awesome.
That's one of my favorite episodes of The Office. All righty.
Happy birthday, period.
Happy
right.
Your birthday.
So good.
What's with the colors of the balloons? What? It matches the
carpet. Yeah, that's what you always want.
Right.
Balloons to match the carpet.
Exactly.
Hey, shout out to the chat. James, you're getting serenaded with happy birthdays in the chat.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate everybody's well wishes. Many moons ago, the stars have aligned and brought me full.
And there is no better way to spend a birthday. Man, I should have gotten you a cameo from Cody himself. Had I been prepared.
You're like, yeah, James, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, man.
The intro, peace and love, Cody Brown.
Right. I'm going to give you some lessons on manhood. Awesome. That's what I needed for my birthday. Lessons from manhood by Cody Brown.
Oh, that would be
this amazing. Is how you take care of a family. Make sure you don't take your wives for granted.
So, look, Lynn says, don't ruin the moment, Sarah. Sarah, don't waste $20 on the cameo. I think he charges like
more like 200.
Yeah,
he charges a grip for bad advice.
Yeah, he has priced himself. So I've heard a couple schools of thought. I've heard people that like are on Cameo but don't really want to do cameos that much. They price themselves at a price point where it's like, okay, if someone's willing to pay that much, maybe they'll consider doing it, but they don't want a flood of requests. So, someone said he charges $140. Oh, but he'll give you a whole 2 minutes. That's more than he's giving Christine.
Right. Or Mary.
That was an easy joke.
Or probably anyone in the back.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have some gossip to talk about real quick. Do you guys want to talk about some Sister Wives tea?
Sure. Always. Some hot goss.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but Mykelti and Tony are moving to North Carolina.
Oh, so they're going to be right down the street from
I don't know if they're moving and being neighbors with Maddie. She said on her Mykelti said on her Patreon watch along that it's like a benefit that Madison lives in North Carolina, but that's not the reason why they're moving. Apparently Tony's mom is heartbroken. And Tony's parents help them out a lot with childcare. Oh, wow. And so does Christine. I cannot imagine like leaving my built-in childcare
Right. Wow. You know what? It didn't even occur to me like, oh yeah, they're moving towards Madison, but it didn't occur to me right off until you said it. They're moving away from Christine.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
And then the thought occurred to me because I put out a video earlier. McKelty is the most thirsty to be on the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the show going to travel to North Carolina? I don't know if Madison isn't on the show because she's just not local anymore, or if she just doesn't want to be on the show anymore. Like, will she start participating in the filming if the producers are willing to send a camera crew out there?
I think so. I mean, they got to pay them. I don't know if they want to pay them.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. They'd have to write. They still have to. I don't know if TLC is prepared to start stroking out checks, because that's what they would have to do. Like, in order for them to send people down there, they'd be an expense.
Season 16 and 17 were almost entirely shot on iPhones. Like, this show is about as low budge as it gets. So
right.
I don't know if they're replacing people's tripods if they broke. I think that was coming out of pocket. So
right.
I mean, I do think COVID hit and it really impacted reality TV. All these shows, whoever makes the big decisions was like, oh, we can do it this cheap. Great.
Right.
We're never going back ever.
You know what the cheapest show has to be to produce is, I don't know if you guys watch it. It's on Netflix. It's called The Circle.
I don't watch it, but I've heard of it.
I watched the first couple seasons and I enjoyed it. But I think they film it in the same like setup that they film like Love is Blind in or something. So, and it's entirely, they don't even let these people go outside. It's like, there's no, they set up a room and like a camera and then that's it.
Wow.
Well, that's better than what I thought it was. I thought it was like a Zoom reality show, kind of.
Oh, but kind of, yeah.
Okay, it is. Okay.
Yeah. It's like they're zooming each other, but they did spring for some cameras.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So yeah, there's that. And then someone asked in McKelty's live chat if Aurora was getting married, because I've seen that on Reddit. People are talking about Aurora. Maybe she was spotted wedding dress shopping, and McKelty said no. So pretty much, but McKelty also said that we were going to get a spring premiere of season 19, and that certainly didn't happen. So
right. Yeah, it's kind of the question: how tied in is she really? You know
exactly.
what I mean?
And you know what's so funny is she said, like, from what I know, Aurora's not engaged. I can confidently say, like, if someone asks me, hey, such and such about your brother, like, I don't talk to my brother every day, but if there was some like major life event, like an engagement, I certainly feel like I would know over.
Right. I would hope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But this, they're moving. What do you guys think about them moving?
Is Tony getting a job?
So Tony has a job. He does something with chess. I think he works for a company that runs chess tournaments.
Okay.
I know he also participates in these chess tournaments. So I don't know, like, if he's like a referee, or I don't know what happens in chess. Do you need a referee or something? I don't know. But I don't know. Kathy says that Tony plays video games.
Right. He's a pro gamer. Got his TikTok. I mean, what are they? Did they reveal why they're moving down there, or did they just say they were moving?
No, they said they had a lot of reasons and that they would talk about it in like a future episode. But they already, you know how I don't know if you've seen like screenshots from where they record. But they have like all this exercise equipment behind them. They've already started like packing that area up. So I think that they're going to be moving pretty soon.
They're on their way.
Yeah.
Ooh. I mean, if whatever makes them happy, if that's where they want to be, then who am I to criticize them for the move? I just hope it is a good move, not only for them but for their kids, and they can settle down, find somewhere to settle down. And being close to Maddie probably isn't a bad move for them either. I think that it'll definitely cut them off of the show. Because unless they have something going on or there's something specific that's happening down there that makes TLC want to go down there and film, maybe a spinoff or something to that degree. But I don't know what storyline they could actually tell down there, because they don't have a different type of relationship. Like you just have the monogamous relationship between Tony and McKelty, and then monogamous relationship between, Maddie and her husband. So I don't know what else they could be doing.
They're living in a tiny house community. They don't need a reason. This is Cody Brown's child, okay?
Right.
The man who moved his family every 5 seconds. So who knows?
Fair.
Who freaking knows?
Right.
McKelty can Patreon from wherever. And if, I don't know, is there a big chess scene in
I don't think so.
Carolina?
That's what I mean. Like, I don't think there was maybe Atlanta, Georgia, maybe.
I would
like Raleigh, North
more
Carolina,
like
perhaps.
Metropolitan. So yeah, but I don't.
Right.
I really know nothing about North Carolina, so I could be talking.
Wow.
But
my sister once was like, she just decided randomly she wanted to live in Australia. Like, doesn't know a soul there. It's like, young people.
Right. Well, Crocodile Dundee and Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So you're gonna move down there with Thor, the land of Thor.
my
But
dog.
I mean, if she moves, I don't know how it'll work out as far as the show is concerned. Like, and technically, if she goes down there, part of the quandary would be, even for the Patreon, how much information could you really provide if you're so far away and so disconnected from everybody? So I don't know if that could damage her Patreon cash influx too.
She's
so
gonna be secretly filming like Maddie from the bushes, like,
right.
exclusive video of Maddie and her family.
You know what is interesting though? We know Janelle goes out to North Carolina. I think she pretty much splits her time between North Carolina and Flagstaff, and then Maddie has kind of become this stepping stone for the kids. Like, they leave home, but before they go out into the real world, they go to Maddie's first. It's like college for the Brown kids,
Right.
Like somewhere they can dip their toe into the real world. So
a little bit of freedom.
Savannah is currently at Maddie's house. So
yeah, maybe that's the trick. Maybe it is like Janelle comes down and they film when Janelle is there and they get to be a part of that casting.
maybe.
But, like I said, with TLC, there's a guy from 90 Day Fiance who had did an interview, and he talked about how TLC is really cheap with the money.
Really?
So I don't see them kicking money to, they're barely paying cast members. So I don't really see them kicking money to additional folks, like the add-ons, like Madison, McKelty. So they'd have to kind of bang out their own contracts.
That's a good point, James, because as of last season, they weren't paying any of the kids.
Right.
So that's a good point.
Yeah.
No,
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, let's dive into these episodes. We decided, and I don't even think we alerted you guys, so my apologies. But we decided we were going, because these episodes are so short, and Seeking Sister Wife has sadly
has left the building.
We're going to do 2 episodes alive. So for while these are kind of short. So we're going to cover 5 and 6. These episodes, we have Cody and Christine take a family vacation to Vegas in episode 5. And then in episode 6, there's an appreciation party thrown for the Brown family's monogamous friends who just didn't turn on them when they went public for some reason.
Yeah, right.
What is that? Plagalize?
Oh yeah, Plig allies.
Tied there.
And it was funny because at this party or at this dinner, everyone has coworkers. This is my boss. This was my coworker. Blah blah blah. Robin has her like friend from middle school.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that says a lot.
Yeah. It says that she has no friends.
Coworkers, you can't bring them to a party.
Yeah, right. This is the person I haven't talked to in 20 years.
Yes. So we open up episode 5. Cody's taking as is a theme that we're going to start seeing on the show. It's been a really tough time for Christine. That's like how we set up whatever Christine is going to participate in, whether it be family therapy or whatever trip. It's because Christine is having a hard time. So she really needs this trip. They're going to Vegas, and Cody is like, yeah, Vegas is cool because it's not far away. We can drive, blah, blah, blah. And then Christine's like, I love Vegas. I love Vegas. I love Vegas. I love Vegas.
Right.
And one of the things I've heard as a criticism, and I think it's a fair criticism of Christine, is that she puts on a lot, it seems like, for the camera. And I felt that there. What did you think, Amanda?
You're saying Christine puts on for the camera?
Yeah.
I think I view it a little differently. I mean, when you said that, it kind of made me laugh because it was like almost annoying, and it like kind of made no sense. And I was like, does she really love Vegas that much? But if she's putting on for the camera, she's also like so vulnerable. Because again, in this episode, she talks about like feeling abandoned, and she says it, she's like, boom, boom, boom. I forgot I didn't write it down, but she, or very early on voices all these insecurities she has with Robin coming in. But the Vegas, I love Vegas. I love Vegas. I mean, I wonder if that is coming from a place of like insecurity. Yeah.
What do you think, James?
Well, I think that she does, because this is a time when she was actually suffering from postpartum depression.
Excellent point.
And so I think she was trying to like zhuzh it up and like, I'm okay. Guys, I'm fine.
For sure. Yeah.
There's no problems. And the whole time that she's suffering through this. And even like looking at Cody's face half the time when she was talking, because this was actually one of the times, I think this was like going back when I did the retrospective before. This episode was when I was like, this dude doesn't even like her. Because it seemed like every time she opened her mouth, he was like staring at her, like hard staring at her, like he wanted to do something to her. Like, especially when she was talking about the relationship with Robin and her coming into the family and how she felt, and all of a sudden, like, who are you talking to? Like, he had that, you know what I mean? Like your parents used to have when you were in the store. Who are you talking to? So I didn't really care for that a whole lot. But I think that she does, like, she was trying to even herself out to where she presented, because like you said, I think you said earlier, I don't know if we were offline or we got on yet, but this was, in fact, the earlier episodes was 100% the polygamy propaganda program pilot show, where they were just trying to tell everybody how awesome polygamy is. And you couldn't have a depressed wife talking about how she feels mad, jealous, and upset that he went out and got himself a woman who was 10 years his junior to bring into the household with 3 additional mouths to feed, and y'all barely getting by. You know what I mean? So
she's convincing herself as much as she's convincing the viewer. So we got a super chat from Aaron. Thank you so much. McKelty is one of the only Cody might let speak. That's true. She has kissed the ring the most. House of Dragon reference, in case anyone I still have to watch it because it comes on so late, 9:00. I'm way in bed by then. Audrey said, James, it's my birthday here in Spain on the 18th, and you're still on the 17th. We are celebrating our birthdays at the same time, but on technically different days. That's so cool.
It is
awesome.
Happy birthday, Audrey.
Yeah.
Audrey Bridger in the house. What's going on?
And then again from Aaron, thank you so much. Christine knew the positive role and played it.
Mhm.
That is for sure. That is for sure.
Yeah.
But
But
it's
actually,
oh, go ahead.
oh
Jamie.
no, please.
But it's your
Right.
birthday.
You're right. It's your time. It's my day. The only thing I was going to say was just that it reminds me of something that she said in the last season where she was talking about how she always had to, she could never be herself. And she always had to present the positive side to Cody to make him feel welcome in the house. And I see a lot of that in this particular episode. That's all I was going to say.
Excellent callback. I actually read on Reddit a couple days ago. Someone was asking if someone was saying, hey, like I see all these like podcasts and content creators that are going back and rewatching the early episodes. And is there anyone that recapped the episodes from the beginning without like 2024 knowledge? Because it would be so interesting to see that perspective, like without knowing what we know now. And I don't know if anyone does know, if anyone talked about it. I think there were like online blogs, but it certainly wasn't like the community wasn't like how it is now. So but that
I remember looking and not being able to find much. I think it was like right before recapping became popular.
Yeah. Yeah. But Janelle is in true Janelle form in this episode. She admits that when Christina's gone, she doesn't know what the fuck to do with her kids. Savannah needs her hair brushed. What?
Right.
She has hair. 2 girls. What do I do with hair?
Right. What do you mean I have to feed them?
Yeah. She's like, oh, I have to take care of them a couple days. Let's just shave their heads. Just make it easy.
Right.
Now in this episode, Christine doesn't like microwaves either. She doesn't like microwaves. Yeah,
anything with home convenience, Christine is clearly against.
I was gonna say she really takes the hard path. That's
right.
Especially if you're gonna be the stay-at-home mom, I'm in charge of feeding the kids mom. It's interesting that she would take the stance of like no to things that might make my life easier.
Right. Well, actually, it's funny too because during the like that book review I do on Sundays, I just got finished reading Mary's section on family, and in it she does like kind of a cheap shot. You know, she takes shot at Janelle and Christine by saying at her house they have fresh food and they cook from scratch, while the other people have prepared foods in their refrigerator. So it's kind of funny to me that the people who have prepared foods in their house don't have access to microwaves, which is like the ultimate prepared food device, you know.
I could probably function without a toaster because I just don't toast that much. But a microwave, like I have 2 toddlers. Like half of toddler food is like heat up in microwave. So
well, it's just why are you suffering? Like, what's the point? Why are you doing it to yourself?
Yeah, aren't there like radio waves and toasters and ovens too? Or no? Not radio waves. I sound like an idiot.
I do know that. So I always yell at my husband when he's standing in front of the microwave when it's on, because I have heard that it emits, like, you shouldn't stand in front of it when it's on.
No. Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I am not a scientist, so I don't know. But
I remember when the microwaves were I remember when microwaves was invented, but I remember when I was a kid. Yeah, right. Old as hell, apparently. But I remember when they invented dirt. But I remember when they were talking about, when I was a kid, they would talk about like microwaves. You don't stand in front of them unless you don't want to have kids. Like, so.
Yeah, like I heard something like that. Like it could kill your fertility or something.
Yeah, kill your boys.
But I also heard that about putting like your laptop on your lap. Like
there's a whole bunch of stuff apparently that just
either. Yeah.
I used to put my cell phone in my boobs all the time, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, I was doing something horrible. Like, no, don't do it.
So I used
bombarding
to work
myself.
for Verizon, and there was a lady that came in once. I forget what it's called, but every cell phone, or at least back then, I don't know now with how smartphones have evolved, but in like the 2010s, 2011, all cell phones had like a rating that they could only emit like a certain level of,
Yeah.
I don't know, radiation or gamma rays. I have no idea. And I worked for Verizon and I had no idea. And someone came in and wanted to know like the rating for every phone in our store. And I was like, I have no idea. Oh no, not the boobs like that one big boobied lady from 90 Day
There's a little redneck in me. I'm sorry. It's
Angela was just on the Drew Barrymore show. I cannot believe it. I have to.
Who
watch
was?
that. Angela from 90 Day Fiance.
Oh,
a terrible human
like
being.
criminal, horrible person. Angela.
Dirty Bird was on a Drew Barrymore show.
Mm-hmm.
What?
So Ross, her like sidekick, loves 90 Day Fiance. Like Darcy and Stacey were on the Drew Barrymore show at one point. I don't know who can be like a true fan of 90 Day Fiance and think that Angela is a sane person because she is like a psycho. So I don't know. And
Wow.
Yeah, Ed too.
Wow.
She is a whole hot garbage mess.
She's like, she kidnapped him, right? Or tried to or something. So
she abused him the whole time he was over there. And then when he got here, she was abusing him. Like she physically assaulted him on several occasions during the show. Like was ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And she's actually one of the people who I point to anytime I say that if you go on a TLC show, you are not safe. Like you are not safe because they watched her go out. She showed up to this man's house in the middle of the night, knocked and banged on his door. And then when he wouldn't come out because she's out there hollering, screaming, and cussing, she started to take his car apart. Yeah. And they're filming it the whole time. And then when he comes out, like, you're tearing my car up, she physically assaults him at that point, and the TLC people are standing there watching it, filming it. Like, it's insane. Like, she should have been kicked off that show a while ago. Like, there's a lot of abuse. Like, we watch a lot of abuse that happens on this particular network, but some of it is like, it's next level. It's next level. Completely unacceptable.
Yep. It does defy, like, logic. It's really interesting the choices that TLC makes when they choose to make a moral stand with a cast member. I don't know if you guys watch like Real Housewives and stuff, but I think it's Kenya on Real Housewives of Atlanta has just been suspended indefinitely from Real Housewives of Atlanta for some thing she did at an event that she threw. She displayed pictures in some manner of another cast member performing sex acts on someone. I don't know. So anyways, it suspended her indefinitely. Well, she is now suing Bravo because the whole scandal of it all with Vanderpump Rules, he's in a lawsuit centered around revenge porn. Like, is like given a redemption arc on Vanderpump Rules. How is this not? And sorry if I just got this stream demonetized. My apologies.
Like, oh no.
Yeah. So
you heard the POI word too many times.
Do networks take, like, TLC took a stance with Honey Boo Boo when Mama June was dating a convicted
CA person,
but literally Angela has custody of her 6 grandchildren because her daughter is a convicted child offender.
Right. And she's out now.
The daughter is out now.
No, not Skylar, the other one. There was another sister.
but the first season Angela was on, that daughter is on the show. Her name is Scotty. And then when all of this came out about her, now that daughter has like disappeared, and now I think Skyla is her name, has stepped in as like Angela's, well, she is Angela's daughter, but like she took the place of Scotty.
Right. Well, because Scotty was the one, there was Angela was on 2 shows prior to 90 Day Fiance. She was on was it Maury Povich? And she was on Tamara or something like one of the shows. I forget the name of the show. Who? Not Tamara Hall, not that one. It was a different lady. Her name begins with T too. I don't, but she was on there connected to Scotty. Then, Scotty went to jail, and that's when she started bringing her other daughter on. And all those kids that she had in the house belonged to Scotty. Those are Scotty's kids. And now Scotty is out. And Scotty is creating all kinds of havoc and problems for Angela. And like you said, the weird place where TLC took their stance, they watched this woman abuse this man for seasons after seasons after seasons. Nothing happened. Nobody said anything. She was eventually asked to leave. This is her last season on Happily Ever After. And she was asked to leave and discontinue from the show because she violated the NDA. Not because she was doing things to other cast members and she was hard to work with and she was creating all kinds of problems. She was physically assaulting and attacking other cast members. Like people she wasn't even in a relationship with on what is it, that doctor show, like Last Resort.
Oh, The Last Resort. Yeah.
Yeah, she attacked Liz.
Yeah, she's just a nasty human being.
Right.
I'll tell you. Yeah. Speaking of like nasty comments, Robin tells us in this episode that she feels really bad for Christine being such an old mother. Like,
right.
She's heard like being like the crypt keeper and giving birth at the ripe old age of 38 has got to be taking its toll on Christine. Meanwhile, fast forward to what was that, season 15 or 16, when Robin talks about maybe still having a kid at like, what was she, 43 or something at the time? So,
Well, because the crazy part is, like, when she said that, I was like, what the shit? Like, why would you do that? Like, look, I'm just saying, as a dude, like, I know my dad told me when I was a young man, one of the things my dad told me, he said, look, no matter what the conversation is, no, never, ever, 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 ever get caught talking or tricked into talking about 2 things with any woman, any lady, her age and her weight. Those are 2 things you stay the hell up. Do I look fat in this dress? You lose your vision. I don't know nothing. I'm not commenting either way because there's never a good answer. Either way, we arguing. So no, I'm not answering that question. Stay away from it. And when she hit that note, I was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why would you say that? Why would you do that to yourself? And I had to look it up because I was like, well, how much younger is Robin to these ladies that she would even have the audacity to bring that up? And it's 6 years.
Yeah, people always mention that when I make videos and I talk about their age difference. I usually say she's like 10 years younger because I think she's 10 years younger than like Janelle. But people are like, dude, she's only like 6 or 7 years younger than Christine. Like, she is not that much younger.
Right. And she was like 31 when they were filming this. And she made that comment. And so,
when she had Ariella, like she had to have been like mid 30s.
Right. Like you already like, and especially when you start talking about, because what she's talking about is geriatric pregnancies when it becomes dangerous, anything over 35. Right. Yeah. Folks know. And when you're talking about a geriatric pregnancy, you're right there at that precipice. So why would you even say that when you're in the same boat? Like, what are you talking about? And that's why I was like, the stuff she says where she's just believing her own hype. Like you need to stop listening to Cody and take a look in the mirror. And that's crazy.
Yeah, you know, she admits in this episode to being jealous. I was actually like shocked, or in one of the episodes.
Well, because Cody also says when she has Truly that, oh, he was glad Truly was a girl because maybe Christine will keep trying to go for a boy. So he's writing Christine off as being closed for business.
Right. Well, Cody loves having children.
It's such a weird flex.
Right. I can keep making babies.
Cast member on this Love Paradise show who's just like a literal like amateur sperm donor. He like yeah, it's gross.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even have anything against sperm donors. Like if you can help people out, you know, God bless you. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like even with Cody and people like that, like having babies is not a superpower. Like, you don't have to keep going out just trying to prove your worth. Like, I can do this because I have amazing loins or what. Like, you're fine. You don't have to keep hitting that copy button and keep making people. Like, at some point, you might want to stop. Take care of the ones you got, you know.
I think that's a valid criticism when we see these supersized families. It's like, what would you do without this TV show?
He doesn't golf, Sarah, so boom.
Okay.
Right.
Oh yeah.
He makes up for it by not golfing. He makes up for having to divide his time amongst a million children by not golfing.
He might not be the best dad, but who has the best dad?
Right.
What are dads, really?
Do they really exist?
Right. Robin utters one of her famous lines that I've seen clipped time after time. She sits there and tells us in her interview that she couldn't imagine what it would be like to have a husband around all the time. That would be weird. Girl, weren't you just married for like a decade?
This was the line that stood out the most to me in the episode because I was like, what? This is why people hate you. What are you talking about? This makes no sense.
Well, my favorite part is she says it as a criticism to monogamous. Like, I don't know what you people do. I don't know how you deal with somebody, only one. Like, you just showed up to the party. You act like you've been in it for years. Again, you keep talking to these people who have been in this business for 15, 17 years, and you just showed up. You're fresh off the boat. Like, you don't get to start making these kind of observations. Like, I can't believe, I don't know what you would do if you only had one man. You mean like your last relationship? Is that why that didn't work out? You know?
She tries so hard. This could have been a moment where she was like, well, as somebody who was recently in a monogamous marriage, whatever she wants to say. But no, she has to pretend she's like the polygamy expert. I don't know why.
Yeah. It defies logic. It's disingenuous. And I think that's, we can say, and I do think that Christine does put on a little bit for the cameras, but I think Christine really did go into this show thinking we're gonna open our home up to the world and see what happens. But I think Robin definitely always had an agenda, and it's pretty clear, Aaron, thank you so much. TLC only stands with victims. They banish bad guys. TLC certainly makes some interesting casting choices, and Lady Bliss, thank you so much. I dislike Robin so much I can't stand her kids. Sorry, not sorry.
Oh.
Unfortunately, I see a lot of that. People have really come. It's hard to feel sympathy when you perceive them as being the ones who get it all, right? They get the thing that all the other kids want, which is a relationship with Cody. But I think it's pretty clear that relationship is conditional and it comes at a cost. So they have
Mm.
no freedom. And it seems like Dayton has been banished to at least the driveway if he's
Right.
still living in that RV. I don't know. Oh, Lynn, just wait until Alec Baldwin appears on TLC next year. A surefire. Maybe Alec Baldwin wants to get divorced, and this is his way to do it.
Right. Maybe he's going to start adding Sister Wives. You never know.
Yeah.
What a show.
So Mary, Janelle, and Robin. So we saw when Cody went camping, then the wives that are left behind, as Mary says, they have to plan an event. So these gals, they go bowling. And it seems like they have a pretty good time. But I did notice that Robin used bumpers. So
Yeah. And then she claimed that she was dead even with Mary, because it's only the numbers that matter. Forget the fact that I had the whole handicap with the bumpers on the side. But I kind of, with this, I got to say I fall in line with Mary. Like if you're using bumpers after age 10, you don't really get to claim victory.
And this is Robin logic, right? Like it doesn't matter if we didn't start at the same starting line. If we end up at the same finish line, then that means we're even.
Right. Well, actually, isn't that though? Because isn't that a commentary on how she approached the marriage? Because even though she didn't do the time that the OG3 did, she didn't do the financial commitment or contribution that any of the OG3 did, but she's still expected to have everything that they have, if not more. So I think so in a weird way, I think it's kind of a commentary on how she approached the whole of how she just does things.
It shows her values, kind of. Even though it's like a stupid bowling game, you're like, well, it's kind of consistent with you being, somebody called her rotten, it's like so mean, but it's like.
And then also, I mean, I don't want to get like philosophical about it, but like, we're speaking of like being an example for the kids. Like, what kind of example is that setting? Like, you're trying to equate your achievement to someone that objectively made more of an effort, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or had a better skill set to achieve that score. Yeah.
Well, she picked the ball up, so that that automatically puts her on even planes. Like, I was there, I showed up, I threw the ball down the lane. I should have just as much as you have.
Robin's the reason why people hate participation trophies.
Right.
The reason why those get ragged on.
You made me feel bad.
Yeah. Although, for people like me, if it wasn't a participation trophy, I would not have very many trophies.
Oh.
So I appreciated the ribbon just for coming to the track.
Right. Thanks for showing up. Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. Happy to be here.
Well, sometimes that's the only trophy you get. So that's going on the mantle.
I appreciated it. And my mom still has a box of mine to this day.
And then it gave you the confidence to become the YouTuber you are now.
Right.
Here we are.
Winning.
On that track and field.
Right. The tiger blood,
So Robin and Cody and crew, they go to the wax museum and just wax, like the things they're doing with wax these days. Just again, it's Christine is just flabbergasted. She's astounded.
The things they're making, like they just make creepy people who are famous. Like, you know what? I hate to say this, but I did have like a weird curiosity with it after watching it. I was like, you know what? I should go to Vegas so I can see some of the creepiness, because I haven't seen it. So, maybe it's a good commercial, so I can go and make fun of it.
I've been there to one of the wax museums. I was like underwhelmed, but maybe I'm being picky.
Right.
I've seen like saw a BuzzFeed article, I think years ago, and it was like wax figure fails, like wax museum figures that look nothing like the celebrity that they're trying to emulate. Like, oh my gosh, the one for Beyonce was horrible. Like it didn't look anything like her. But then you see ones and it's like really good. So it's interesting. But yeah, I'd have to agree with you, Christian. Overall, wax museums are.
Yes.
I mean, going back to what you said earlier about the like, I love Vegas. I wonder now, like, does it come off super fake? Because as somebody who grew up really religious, my parents were like, you know, Vegas is a sin city, like a city of sin. Like, we're not going to go to Vegas. We're like super, you know, non-drinkers, non-partiers, non-dance clubbers. So maybe that's why it's so weird that Christine is like, oh, so excited about Vegas. Because like all they can do is go to the wax museum. You know, the kids can't go to drink places or gambling places. The adults don't want to do any of the like, ooh, you know, vicey stuff. So they have to be so happy about the wax museum.
Yeah. Oh, and wasn't it last episode that Christine was like, my favorite holiday is Halloween? Like she's trying to be like a bad girl, like a rebel.
Right.
I love Vegas. I love Halloween.
Take me to
not your
Sun's
typical
City.
Mormon fundamentalist. I'm a cool Mormon fundamentalist.
Exactly.
Well, actually, it's kind of weird too, because now that you guys mention it, there was a point where they were talking about being in Vegas and the weirdness, like, oh, if you go on the strip, there's certain parts of the strip, if you walk down, they have the Rockette girls and the dancing girls and the people who are half naked, and oh my goodness. But you knew about that before you moved out there. And you moved out there anyway. So if it was like, you know, clutch my pearls because somebody is walking around with, you know, damn near no clothes out, and I go there on vacation, I'm not going to be like, you know, we need to move to the place where the people are naked, the place of nakedness. Like, if I do that, then that's where I want to be. Like, you know what I mean? Let the freak flag fly. Forget it. Like, that's what I want to see. I want to see some people walking around, you know, barely clothed.
Emily makes an excellent point, and Cody actually talks about this at the beginning of this episode, that there's actually a really big Christian population. Specifically, I believe there is a big Mormon population in Las Vegas. So while it's kind of like a dichotomy a little bit, like it is Sin City, but it's also pretty conservative, religious on the periphery. So it's funny like that.
All I know is I wasn't allowed to go to Las Vegas when I was a kid. My parents didn't see the Christian side of it.
Like, we're not taking no chances. We're not taking no chances.
So a little subplot of this episode is that Mary is job searching, and she has to tell Cody that she didn't get this job she was going for. And she lets us know that she kind of sort of maybe got fired for being a public polygamist. And like, gosh, the ostracization is just unreal that she's been facing just for being who she is. The persecution.
Yeah, right. Imagine that I'm on TV openly breaking the law, and all of a sudden the Troubled Kids network I work with doesn't want me to work there anymore. Like, imagine that. I think that there's a couple things that were in play, because I understand why they would try to hold it out that she was fired because of polygamy. But at the same time, I understand how corporations work. And in the corporate world, you could be terminated because they could feel like you doing this particular thing, being on a reality show, might be too much of a distraction for their particular business. So they don't want to have that type of association. If you go on 90 Day Fiance with a heterosexual monogamous relationship up and down, I'm going to promise I won't touch it till I get married. You might get fired from your job because you have a bad episode where you get into the wrong kind of argument and say the wrong thing. You might lose your job. That's one of the dangers of going on a reality show. It's not just because you're a polygamist.
I think also that happened on Bravo too, on Real Housewives. Of it. Amanda's gonna be right back, you guys. Hold on. But on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Whitney Rose, her husband got fired, and they at least claim on the show that the reason why was directly attributed to them being on the show. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I could totally see that.
You're right, James. It's a risk you take when you. But luckily for Mary, she found MLMs, so she's cool.
Right.
She has nothing to worry about. LuLaRoe is yonder, the light at the end of the tunnel for her.
Oh yeah. She's the, and the crazy part is that I understand the setback. If anything, I think it could be kind of a kind of that yeoman's tale of, you got a setback early on, and it seems like plans weren't working out, and then at the end of it, you pressured through it, and you wind up in a better situation than you ever would have been had you stuck with the job you were so sad about losing. I think that could be a positive, but at the same time, like, I think that this is also a kind of a warning to people who are thinking about going on these types of shows that you could lose your job. Like, it's no, you start off okay and everybody loves you, bring you on the Today Show, and then they fire you.
Yeah. Latasha says supposedly Mary was fired because she was working with at-risk youth, and since she was committing a crime, she had to be
right.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Right. Yeah, she flouting the law. Like, and it's not like she was in jail. Like, because I'm also tired of, like, because they were also bouncing around about the whole, we're under investigation, so we need to go off so we can forget about the investigation stuff. Like, you were under investigation, but I don't think there was really any danger unless you were doing other things in concert with polygamy. You were never really in any true danger of them showing up to your house and arresting you because you're on TV. You do have certain levels of protection as long as you're not committing fraud or you're doing a lot of the other stuff that they were, some of the other polygamous groups were known for. So
we saw that in like the first episode, or it was the episode where they go to New York because they have like their lawyer interviewed, and the lawyer says, like, yeah, they really are only going after the people that are committing other crimes, like child marriage or like tax evasion or something, like that's what they're worried about.
Yeah, because it was the way he explained it was kind of, we're not actively looking for polygamous families because, let's be honest, and where they are, like, if I walk out with a rock, I'll probably hit 3 or 4 polygamists. Like, so I'm not really talking about that. But when you get your charges, you get arrested, you see the whole list of charges that they hit you with, it was going to be one of them charges like, oh yeah, I pulled you over for speeding, but you didn't have a license, your insurance wasn't right, your inspection stickers was wrong, your license, your registration was jacked up, and you had a broken tail light. So I'm giving you all the tickets. Like, it's kind of, that's what they were doing. But you didn't get those things because they pulled you over. They pulled you over because you was going 95 and a 15. You know what I mean?
Actually, well, not that exact thing, but that actually happened to me. I was pulled over for speeding, and they did not give me a ticket for speeding. They gave me a ticket because when I moved out here to Florida, we were renting a house, and then we bought our house. So my my mailing address didn't match the address on my license. So I got a for that. I was like, thank you so much.
Yeah, right. Because the other was going to cost me money.
$100. So it was cheaper than a speeding ticket would have been. But it was like, what, did you just have to get me for something? You could have just been like, don't do it again.
Right. Where's the warnings?
Yeah.
Well, because they always say, like, cops have what is it? They have a quota. Like, oh, you guys must be trying to meet the quota.
Yeah.
But it's not that police have quotas. What it is that they have to show activity. So when they pull you over, they might give you a ticket because at the end of the day, if you're sitting in a car for 12 hours, depending on 8 hours or 12-hour shifts, and you're in a car for that much time, your supervisor is going to ask you, you're telling me you were in the car for 50 some odd hours last week and you didn't see anybody commit a crime. So either you're sitting in a parking lot somewhere sleeping or you're just shitty at your job. You know what I mean? And so that's why they write you the ticket. That's why they bang you out.
I think this is a sidebar we're talking about. James looks good
Okay.
today with his new background, black chair, black shirt.
Thank you, Miss Indies.
Got the
Trying to
birthday
keep
glow.
it fresh.
So Robin is whining as she we are learning that she is gonna become known to do. All these people are just saying like Cody has 16 kids. Like how do all these kids get what they need out of a father? And spoiler alert, they don't. But
Right.
Janelle sits there and is like, we all had pretty crappy dads, and Cody's better than the crappy dads we had. So, yay. Go. Cody doesn't golf. Like,
Yeah, he doesn't have a man cave.
he doesn't have a man cave.
And there was something that really struck me when Robin was doing all that talking and Christine, and actually Christine kind of got me a little bit with this particular episode too. Where Robin was talking about her kids and the importance of having Cody around and how involved he is. And I kept thinking, like, your kids have a father too. And even though you might disagree with, you don't like him. I get that. Like, you don't like him. You hate his guts or whatever because of how he did you in your relationship. He still should be able to have a relationship with his children. And when they talked about it, I don't know if you were about to jump into that, but when they talked about it, Christine was like, oh, we have to do something about it because I would fight to keep the father from getting his kids back because they have to be here with us. Like, at some point, you have to recognize the fact that when you're blending families, that's part of the blending. That's part of it. Like, if whoever the custodial parent is, they shouldn't automatically plan on cutting out the non-custodial parent because it makes their life easier or simpler. Like, you have to include the other person. Like, I just totally disagree with that.
I literally, went to a birthday party this past weekend. In my daughter's class, she has a friend who they obviously, because they're in school together, they live here in Florida, but her dad lives in Georgia. But her dad comes down once a month. Like, and her dad is so nice, so cool. And she's spending half the summer down here, and then she's gonna go spend half the summer up there. And that has to be so difficult. But I feel like the way that this girl's mom and dad they're not together, but they're doing what's in the best interest of their daughter.
Right.
We're both there at her birthday party. Like, and this guy comes down once a month. I was very impressed learning that. And that's not to say because he's a dad, I'm impressed he's stepping up. But like, that's a lot of work to live in another state and make your kid that big of a priority. I found that to be really impressive. And it's hard. I don't think I've ever fully appreciated until recently just how toxic this adoption process that they put Robin's kids through really was. This was horrible.
Yep. Yeah. And that's the whole thing. And the fact that everybody in the family went along with it, I have an issue with that too. Because if this, like, shoe on the other foot, like, would you want, if Cody separated, you have minor kids, and Cody separated from any one of you, would you want him to fight you and try to exclude you from your kid's life? The answer, of course, is no. And just because your relationship, your romantic relationship with this other person doesn't work out, that doesn't mean that they can no longer have a parental relationship with their children. It's two different relationships. My relationship with my wife is completely different and separate than my relationship with my kids. If I have a problem, if I fall out with her, I'm not going to stop talking to my kids because I don't get along with her. I just got to figure it the hell out. I'll scream and cry in the car when I, go pick them up and drop them off. I can't stand home, and do all that, bang on the ceiling and the steering wheel, But you got just sit there hollering.
Sometimes you gotta.
Imagine those like inflatable people outside like car dealerships. Like,
And you know when you're doing all that, the police go pull up right next to you. What?
100%.
But you have to get past it because it's not like somebody said, coined it perfectly. You know, you have to love your kids more than you hate your ex. And if if clearly if they're causing problems and if they're a danger to your kids, that's a whole different other conversation. But if he's a neglectful father and he's not doing all the things that you think he should be doing, but he's making an attempt, meet him where that attempt is. And I suggest that just from my perspective, I suggest that because let your kids know who they are dealing with. Because if you don't, it's so easy for that person to come back in your kid's life and play the hero victim role with your kids. So they just look at him and say, you know, I was trying to get in touch with you. You know, I wanted to be around you, but your mom kept me from coming around. This dude never picked up the phone and never tried to pick you up at all. But she's giving him the excuse. And nobody wants to believe that their parents don't want them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you're making them a hero. Don't let them be heroes. Let your kids know that they daddy or they mama's a jerk. Let them know. Let them know. They'll figure it out. Kids ain't dumb.
I think that's kind of the stance Christine and Janelle have kind of taken lately. I think they spent so many years trying to protect their kids from like the reality of what the situation was, and they were making excuses for Cody, and now it's like, hey, Cody, sink or swim, dude. Like,
right. It's on you.
You're showing your kids who you are.
Right, and that's an excellent point because I think that when you look at like McKelty's situation, we can criticize McKelty because she has ties to Cody and she acts like she doesn't see a lot of the fault that he has and the complicity or what makes him culpable in the failure of his relationship with his kids. But a lot of that, I think, is because Christine did such a good job in covering for Cody. They didn't realize that when he wasn't coming around, it wasn't because he wasn't coming around. It's just that dad was a little busy. He couldn't make it to your games or anything that you had going on because I made excuses for him. And then when you relationship does fall apart and you try to tell him like, no, he wasn't coming around because he didn't want to come around. You're lying. He was always there. That's what you told me. So you know what I mean? So let them know who they people are. And right or wrong, it is what it is. You know? And I say that especially about Robin's kids. Like my heart broke for them because there was no reason why you stripped him of his rights to see his kids. There was zero reason why you did it, unless he was abusive.
But in which case, then she needs to advocate for the kids if he was abusive and not let them visit him. So she's painted herself into a corner where she kind of looks bad either way.
It was very confusing because she's painting this picture, certainly to the viewers, but also to like her kids, that this is a toxic situation that they shouldn't be in. But I'm going to visit dad. I go to see dad. Literally in the same episode as the adoption, they leave from the adoption to go visit their dad, but he's no longer legally their dad. The mind games perpetrated on these adolescents is like, oh my God.
And then I know we've discussed this a lot, but maybe they want us to move on. But like I just will never get over when Cody like makes one of the girls feel bad because she like isn't thankful enough. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was like I think it was like, well, because Aurora is sitting there, she's like in hysterics. She's just so happy to be getting adopted, and he goes, well, like, aren't you happy, or Brianna? Like, at least Aurora about it or something. Yeah, he says something like that.
It was like a
because she was
right.
She was openly weeping, acting excited. But then at the same time, because the episode you're talking about, when they were allowed to go visit their father right after the adoption, that was contingent on the deal because Robin had told him, and this is kind of where I agree with what Amanda had said. Robin had been saying the whole time This isn't about stripping his rights away. This is about protecting that relationship. This is about allowing him the right to see him. Anytime he wants to see him, he can see him. Well, if he can see him, damn it, then why are you taking his rights away? If it's okay for them to go, why are you stripping his rights away? If you're going to say that he's too dangerous and there's too much stuff going on because it's janky as hell for me to drop my kids off, then they don't go. They're not coming to your house because you got all kinds of stuff going on down there. But if you can drop your kids off and leave them down there for a week, and the fact that when they were going down there, Dayton had said, and I'll never forget it because he was standing in his room, he was ready to start crying, talking about how excited he was going to go see his father. And then they saw the older daughter, Aurora, I think it is, and she was saying, I haven't seen him in so long. It's amazing. We're going to go down and see him. I can't wait to see him. And they were so excited to see him. And then even after they saw him and got back, they had talked about how great it was that they got to spend time with him and how much they missed him. That's crazy to me because you're hurting your kids at that point. I know it might be a little embarrassing for you to have two kids with different names to you. I get that. But at some point, you got to let your kids be who they are and not deny who they are and have those connections, have those ties. There's nothing wrong with your kids having a whole bunch of people that care for them and look out for them.
It takes a village, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is why I feel bad for McKelty moving away from her village. Like, I hope it's for a really good job or something. I don't know.
Right.
Oh,
a good opportunity.
Yeah. Let's segue to episode 6. And I want to talk about something that I'm going to add to my list of things I will never do on TV. Have a colonoscopy.
Yeah.
I will never have a colonoscopy on TV. Not going to give birth on TV. I'm already married, so I'm not going to get married on TV. But like, my God, like a whole, it was the colonoscopy and polygamy appreciation party. That was this episode.
And if you're gonna, they didn't. As somebody I had to recently do one, they didn't show the hardest part or talk about it, which is like drinking the sludge. Like it was just all doom and gloom. And
so I actually had a colonoscopy when I was 22 because I have freckles on my lips and the palms of my hands, and I have Dutch in my ancestry. And apparently there is this genetic condition that causes polyps to grow all throughout your intestinal tract. And one of the markers that the outside markers of that is freckles on your lips. And it usually affects people with Dutch heritage. So the only way and this was just like sprung on me at a primary care physical when I was 22. I think the guy was like fresh out of med school and had just like read about this condition. And so he referred me to a gastroenterologist, and the guy said the only way to know if you have it, unless you have a family history, is to do a colonoscopy. So at 22, I had a colonoscopy, and that prep is gnarly, like gnarly.
I failed my first one. I couldn't do it. I had to reschedule. I could not drink the sludge.
I passed out the morning of, and I had to have a whole IV of fluids before I could get it done. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So and Mary's up. She's like ready to go 6 o'clock in the morning. And then she goes for her results also at 6 o'clock in the morning. Why was that necessary?
Maybe a doctor's a vampire.
I guess it's like a production thing. That would
right.
be, I guess.
Oh yeah, maybe they had. Okay, that makes sense. Maybe they had to do it before he actually took like regular patients.
Yeah.
I get why the procedure is first thing in the morning, but like, could the results have waited till 8 a.m.?
Right.
Well, you got to know. You got to know. And I think that this was actually one of the times they had started talking, because they had mentioned earlier about her sister, and her sister's situation was such a big influence on Mary and a lot of her story. I think that it was worth telling, and it was also kind of a PSA, like, go get checked out. Don't be afraid to go to the doctor. So, because the one thing that really struck me, I wrote it down to. It's like he said something to the effect of Cody had said, "Yeah, we heard, when he listened to the doctor talking, Cody's reflection of that was everything is okay." What I heard the doctor say was, "Yeah, we saw some polyps. They eventually could have went, the other way, turned cancerous. So we ducked the bullet." You know what I mean? Like, that's what I heard. And Cody's like, "Yeah, everything is fine." Like, everything wasn't fine. It was not fine. Like, it could have been horrible. So, she has to stay on it because you do have those. Like, I have stuff that runs in my family, and you just have to stay on it to make sure that you don't suffer from it. Like, every time you go to the doctor, you hate to get the results of stuff and go for tests, but you have to do it because you don't want to find out too late.
I agree, James. This helped encourage me to go get my colonoscopy. My dad had colon cancer, so I really needed to do it, and I really didn't want to do it. And this was partly why I was like, "Dang, Mary's sister was 31. Holy crap!"
Right.
So I appreciate that they put it in, even though I kind of made fun of the way they did it. I agree. It was a nice PSA.
I need to call Cody in to be like, hey, dude, you want to see the polyp? We're about to clip out of your
Right.
Boop. It's like a video game.
Yeah, I love my husband, but he does not need to see that. Like,
yeah.
It's
well, I mean, it's kind of
leave some mystery, right?
I'm gonna say this as the member of the trio with a prostate. Like, this would be the equivalent of like them calling your wife in for your prostate exam. Like, "Hey, we about to go in there, snap them." Like, "Whoa, bro!" Like, some things she don't need to see. Like, we can keep this between the two of us and our quiet romantic evening. We don't have to ruin things.
Well,
but it's
on Mary. So she has 7 siblings that are same mom, same dad. She has 25 total. But of those 7 siblings, 3 now have died. So
right.
Wow.
She is now, and her mom and dad have passed. She is the oldest of her family now.
Wow.
So it is, and you know what? Shout out to Christine for pestering Mary to get this done because her sister died 6 years ago.
Mary risked it. I thought that was a little irresponsible being a parent.
Yeah.
Well, because you know what? Like, I think that you got to take care of yourself, but I understand where she's coming from because it is like for her is scary. Knowing I think is has its own fears attached to it, but at the same time, not knowing should be just as horrifying. And if there is something wrong, you want to start preparing yourself and you want to start preparing your kids. Figure out what you're going to do with your child, instead of just relying on the system. Like, I want to make sure everything is established. So I get it. Like, it can be scary. And especially with like that kind of ratio where you of 7-3 have passed plus your parents, like there's a question of whether it's biological, whether it's genetic, or whether it could be environmental, or maybe a combination of both. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you are in a situation like that, that's a lot. Like, those numbers are crazy. Like, those are crazy numbers.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Leon, I'm
yeah, you gotta get it.
I'm on the phone haranguing Mary until they go every 3 years or so. Like, have you made your appointment? Cool.
Right. Yeah, Leon needs to go too. Like, as crazy as that is.
Yeah.
They can go together, make it an event.
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying that though, James, because you're totally right. It's so easy for us from our positions. I didn't get mine as soon as I should have. So it's just, I'm thankful to the PSA and Chadwick Boseman. I think that made a lot of people like open up their eyes. So, but it's easier said than done, and everybody has their own like mental battles with stuff like this.
It truly is a mental battle because I firmly, with my anxiety and all my mental health issues, no news is always good news for me. So,
if I don't know about it, it ain't real.
Yeah, if they haven't diagnosed me, I don't have it, right?
Right, exactly.
I hear you.
Yeah, I see that.
Well, because even with her sister, like they had said that her sister's situation was preventable had she gone and got the test earlier, and that was crazy too. Like, because that's heartbreaking in and of itself. Like, if you just would have went and got the screening, you could have saved a whole lot of problems.
Yeah,
So, and she left 4 babies behind.
I know colon cancer is one of the slowest growing cancers. So when caught early, it's high success rates of treatment. But when caught late,
it's devastating. Yeah,
caught late at 31.
Right.
This must have been mid-20s when she. Oh my gosh! Like, that is so unfair. It's like kids getting cancer. It's like, come on,
right?
Come on, God.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the universe's subtle reminder that they don't have no favorites.
No,
we don't play favorites.
Like, somehow Charles Manson lives to be, I don't know, 75 or whatever. But
in jail.
Kids getting like Michael Mann's daughter, clapping for her. She just finished she had a brain tumor, I think. She just finished chemo. But it's like, I've been following her story on Instagram, and she's been very open about like just how sucky chemo is and how hard it is. And you know, she lost her hair. She's gorgeous, bald, but just how awful the experience has been. And now she just got to ring the bell that she's completed her treatment. So but it's like, God, she's like, I don't know, like 19 years old or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sucks. Kelly, I'm so sorry to hear this. Her niece is 23 and just got diagnosed with MS.
Wow.
Life is certainly not fair. Because then Cody sits there during their camping trip or camping chair conversation when they're talking about the COVID rules, and he's bemoaning, could you imagine if I couldn't work out? Like, who am I if I cannot work out?
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
I got life goals, and you guys are in the way. Which is something that everybody who's been in a long-term relationship wants to hear. Like my relationship with you is apparently getting in the way of my life goals. Like, what?
Yeah, are you serious? Like, I'm supposed to be your goals. Like, shut up.
Right. 20 kids later. You know, I think I want to do other stuff. Like, no, we locked in. Like, this is it. You made decisions. We're dealing with this.
The man like started a whole like 18-season TV show about polygamy. And he's like, I've got other goals these kids are preventing me from.
Yeah, that's one of them. Before you went out and started painting the walls, you know what I mean? You should have thought about that. You know, you should have been a little more responsible with your procreation. Lay off the damn copy button player.
Someone also pointed out, I forget where, because you look at like the timeline of all the kids' ages. Christine and Janelle were back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
I think even like Logan and Madison, and the gaps between like Madison and Hunter, it's like barely a year, if a year. Like, these women were having a kid and immediately getting pregnant. Like Aspen, McKelty, Leon, all those older kids are like 6 to 8 months apart. It's wild.
Well,
shooting out kids
in a trailer.
And that's one of the things they say. Like, when you go and you have babies, you know, the doctor should tell you that it's crazy fertile. Like, when you bang one out, down there is like the Garden of Eden, baby. You could grow anything. Like, you know,
my brother and I are 15 months apart, and it took I think my parents tried for like 3 years to have my brother. So yeah, and my mom's best friend got pregnant while she was still breastfeeding. So her kids are like 13 or 14 months apart.
Right. Yeah, because as soon as they heal up, because you figure with everything down, like the placenta, like all that kept that baby alive for 9 months, that stuff is down there and it's working. And so you man, unless you want babies, take it easy. I'm trying to keep it even and I'm trying to keep it clean as possible. But yeah, unless you want babies, you gotta.
That soil is fertile.
Yeah,
It's been
man.
raked.
Irish.
Ready to go.
They done tilled it. They put down the fertilizer.
Yeah.
Right.
My daughter, my first pregnancy, I had a C-section. My doctor said, don't even think about getting pregnant for a year. Then speaking of like 90 Day Fiance, Lauren, who's on 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After, she's had 3 kids in 3 years, all C-sections. Like that is not medically advisable.
No, it's dangerous. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Like especially with C-sections, it's dangerous.
Misty points out, yeah, Gwen and Gabe are 4 days apart. That's why they're called. That's why they called them twins. Then Robin had to squeeze her much younger daughter in and call them triplets, not triplets.
Oh, I'm here for the Robin hate. Love
Justice
it.
for Gwen and Gabe. Let them be twins.
Like they're triplets.
And this is the thing, like, you know, you end up looking like at Aurora, like you don't go here, you know. But it's like it's not her fault that her mom tried to make fetch happen when it's like let Aurora have her thing and then let Gabe and Gwen have their thing.
Yeah, Robin tried to force way too much, way too early. The Photoshop debacle and this immediately forcing as soon as I saw her training the kids to call Cody dad, I was like, oh, Robin, what are you doing? What are you doing?
That in a later episode, Aurora like reports to her mom, yeah, I just got off the phone with Preston. She calls her dad by his name. It's like the mental brainwashing that Robin has done is
well, because there is something that I would say with that too, is that you have to be careful what you teach your kids, because when you teach them to easily be able to disassociate themselves from a parent because that parent doesn't mean anything because they're not important, etc., etc., etc. Oh, I'm bashing on that non-custodial parent. What you're also teaching them is that you're disposable as well. Because if they can learn to dislike and disassociate from one, then it's not a trick for them or a big leap for them to be able to do it to you too. So the same way they cut Preston off, they can cut you off as well. So like that kind of thing always can backfire on you.
Yep.
And if they can disrespect him, they can disrespect you. So
that's like watch how you treat your parents after you have kids, because you're modeling how they should treat you when you're older.
Right.
Did that make sense?
Point. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
A girl, my mom said, I hope she's just like you.
Oh, she put the curse on your ass. That's what that is.
Like, don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
Right. I hope that you have the same problems. You ain't gonna have nothing till you do right by me. You're like,
I don't want to be. No, thank you.
Right.
So anytime I'm having like a tough day with my daughter, my mom's like, yeah,
yeah, right.
It's familiar. Sure does.
And she get on the phone and start high-fiving people. It worked. It worked.
My curse was successful.
Yeah, well, you do your own medicine there, Sarah.
You're putting that juju on her ass and got it. We got him. We freaking got him.
So they're having this friendship appreciation dinner. And again, like we said at the beginning, everyone's inviting coworkers who just learned that they were polygamous, and we learn how they reacted to that. And then we see Robin invites her like middle school bestie. And I'm like, cool that you're still friends with her, but sad that you don't have like a contemporary or like a colleague that can like commingle at this dinner.
Yeah, right. Well, somebody wrote earlier that Robin was like that because she doesn't have coworkers, like because she didn't have a job. So, you know, the only people she can invite would be the sister wives. But I would also be concerned because maybe the reason why she isn't inviting anybody is because she doesn't want you to associate with anybody that she knows, because she doesn't want them talking. That's where I would, you know, because if I was in a situation where I was dating somebody and they all of a sudden they didn't want you hanging out with their friends, then there's something that their friends was probably going to tell you about them, and they don't want you to know.
Before the friends scene came on, I was kind of thinking like, are these really their friends? But then I was like, okay, some of the clips are like but then I was like, okay, the guy who's like, oh, it's okay that you're polygamy to Janelle, like, are they just work buds? Like, are these really their friends?
And then most of them, it seemed like all of them knew that they were polygamous. Like Christine's boss or whatever said that he would joke around and call her the polygamist and tell all kinds of polygamy jokes. The person who was with Cody reassured him because he knew he was polygamous. So I was like, is it really like a coming out party? Because I thought it was a come out party, right? Or was it just thanks for being our friend through the, we're polygamous.
Thanks for sticking with us through the tough times when when everyone found out you guys stayed around. So we're gonna feed you ambrosia.
Yeah, right. Oh God, the ambrosia scene. Like, I think what I'm decided on now in this moment is that I don't think any of these people are stayed friends with the Browns for like even within a year. Like, there's no way.
Yeah,
it lasted. Like, I now decided like, no, I don't think they're real friends.
And probably the like 2 truths and a lie they tell at dinner parties now is like, oh my God, 10 years ago, I was on this TV show, and you can still go back and see because it's like syndicated.
Right.
It's on HBO Max. It's called Sister Wives. Oh my gosh. We get another Janelle-ism. I just love early season Janelle-isms. Janelle talks about how she loves that she conveniently works a lot because the Sister Wives are embarrassing to be out and about with.
Yeah.
We had a shot of grocery shopping with Christine, Robin, and Mary, which I have to imagine Christine was probably so annoyed because Christine has a system with grocery shopping. It is like methodical with her. And these two were probably just setting her back, slowing her down. What do you guys think?
For sure.
Well, I think they were supposed to be out in the stores. They out in the streets. They belong to the streets. They were out in the stores, joking around and playing, trying to make it look fun that they were getting along. And there was also a point where they had did the tie-in that I thought was interesting for Robin, because she was talking about how cooking is a social event for the women, and like having a kitchen and being able to get in the kitchen and cook with each other. Like, they had a whole problem living in the same house. And part of the reason why they couldn't be in the same place was because they couldn't share a kitchen. Like, that was a big thing that they had talked about. And they treated it like it was the Hunger Games, where apparently, they would fist fight over like who's cooked the best and who was cleaning up. So like, I thought that whole thing was, but it all played into the whole, like, we're sister wives and we have such a great time. Wouldn't you want to be a sister wife too? Like that whole, like, little jingle. So
now we have this great debate. So we're having the dinner party at Robin's. Do we do one long table or 3 separate tables? And in order to get a feel, we have to lie down on our backs, like side by side.
How is this such like a memorable scene in the series? This like fight about tables. This stuck out in my mind from when I first watched the show.
It's so interesting. What I do notice is that Mary is a big proponent of 3 tables. Robin wants 1 table, and they end up with 1 table.
Yeah. Well, did you also notice, because Cody was talking about like the 3 tables too, but then Robin, that was the first time, like, for me, that I noticed the mask slip a little bit with Robin, because she walked over and the way she picked the table up and like kind of chucked it a little bit, and it slammed down. I was like, she's angry. Like, this is not like, hey, we're all working together. She's pissed off because she's not getting what she wants.
Yeah,
and she wasn't shy about it.
New theory unlocked that the reason Robin stopped letting them film inside her house is because that's the only way she can control and hide her temper. Because you're so right. Like, her temper shows here.
Yeah.
That I would believe that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
One of my last notes was, I wonder where these friends are now.
Yeah, right.
If we could get a where are they now for like therapist Nancy,
Right.
some of their personal trainers from back in the day.
They're probably out there living their best lives. Because I don't think that they were really, because even with their interaction with the Sister Wives, they never really exposed themselves to any, like, making a position on any front. Like, whether they support them or don't support them. They just merely said, oh, they're a normal family. They're just like everybody else. But they didn't say, I support polygamy and I'm interested in it now. I want to find out about this polygamy thing.
Mhm.
Like, so they're like all of them, even though they were involved, they weren't really involved, you know? So I thought that was weird. And there was one thing that I noticed too, was that they had the whole conversation. I don't know if we talked about it, where Robin had made the reference that, you know, Cody coming around and the relationships being more tense when Cody shows up, and how they all got along before, but when Cody comes in, everybody gets jealous and everybody gets mad and they're looking to see what the other one is doing, you know. And I thought it was funny that she's sitting there complaining about, you know, who Cody's spending time with, where 5 minutes ago you said you didn't want him around.
Mhm.
And you were happy that he wasn't around. And now you're saying you're jealous because other people are spending time with him. And it's also funny to me that you wound up being the one that he spent the most time with. So go figure, you know.
Yeah. Interesting. My final note on this episode was colonoscopy results at 6 a.m. Why so early?
Yeah, right.
What a interesting episode where in these earlier seasons, it's like, well, we have these two things. I guess neither one is enough for a full episode. Well, so let's just put them together.
Yeah, right.
They slap some weird things together.
There was one thing that I wanted to mention that did you notice there was like when they, first of all, they were having a dinner over at Robin's house. Second, when they were walking up with the boxes to bring the stuff into the house, Cody was outside shoveling the front. And
yes.
Yeah, Robin walked past them and he starts bitching at Christine about not having somebody out here shoveling her front. Like, it's Robin's house.
That
What are we
didn't
doing?
even click to me until just now that he's mad at Christine for not having, I guess, Janelle's sons to shovel Robin's walk
house.
Like,
yeah. Like, what are we talking about? And it would bother me too, because I was like, I mean, I don't want to be the dude that's always coming down on Robin and pointing out the stuff that Robin do. But at the same time, if you're going to complain about it, he should have been complaining to both of them when they were walking up. If you're going to complain to both of them, really, you should be complaining to Robin. I don't know why you didn't call the other kids mom, because they're all supposed to be the moms too, right? So she could call Janelle's kids just like Christine could call Janelle's kids, because she's also a mom. So why wouldn't you say, we're having this party at your house? Why isn't your house ready by having these other kids come over here and do this, mom? But even if you said, I want to talk to both of them because clearly Christine has a better relationship with the boys, fine. Why would you wait till Robin get by? Hey, baby, how you doing? Did you have a good time? Christine, I got to talk to you. Come here, girl. Like, what the shit? Like, no.
And he did that. He ragged on Christine. He singled her out, for like the next 13 years or whatever it was.
And it was like, because Christine was like, oh, yeah, I was supposed to get the boys to do the walkway. Well, Janelle is the mom of most of the boys. What were you have Aiden and Aspen out there like shoveling? Like, why is he not mad at Janelle? Why did he ask Janelle?
I think this is more evidence that Christine was raising Janelle and Christine's kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And here's another little thing. I'm gonna say this. If I want my kids to do something, I will tell them to do it. I don't go and tell somebody else to tell them. No, Cody is just as, Mr. Well, he don't play in a man cave. He doesn't go golfing. He's a great father. If he's the dad, Junior, get your ass over here, because I'm not going to stand out here by myself shoveling this front when I got 4 kids with strong backs. Get your asses over here now. You know what I mean? The shovels is waiting, and I'll be in there sipping on hot cocoa, watching them shovel. Like, are you crazy? Like, he had just as much responsibility and ability to be able to call those kids up. You don't have to wait for your wife. Uh-oh, Amanda. But
it's been an hour and 30 minutes.
right? On the dot, the computer's like, oh. But you don't have to wait for your wife to come in for you to tell her to tell your kids to do something. You got a mouth. You got a phone. You could call Janelle's house and tell them kids to come over just as easy as Christine did. And there's no reason why he was yelling at her and holding her accountable and responsible for something that he could have done himself.
Yeah.
You know,
Christine always bore the brunt of any of Cody's dissatisfaction with any of the kids. It was always Christine's fault, no matter who the mother was. So.
Right. Right. Well, because she's the Pied Piper of the children, apparently.
Yeah.
You know, and a knife in the kidneys. He's back.
I'm sorry, everyone, that I do this every week.
Yeah, no, it's no worries.
What did you guys think of these 2 episodes?
Oh, go ahead, Amanda. You back in the house.
Not as strong as some of the episodes where I've said, like, oh, this was a really great and memorable episode. But still, because they're so short, still, even with how disjointed they are, I still enjoy these early episodes. They're still super interesting. When I was watching it today, one thought that entered my mind was, I know why this show got so popular. The episodes are still interesting. And I've watched them. This has got to be like my 5th time like rewatching these. We've dissected the crap out of them. And I'm like, this is still kind of entertaining. It's just, I totally... Even a bad episode is probably better than a lot of reality shows' good episodes.
Yeah.
Good point. Because I think, I was into episode 5, the going to Vegas and then bowling and all that jazz. I was into it. We had a lot of memorable moments. Polygamous Party, episode 6, it's kind of a nothing burger for me, but it's still like, we still got memorable moments. So you're absolutely right. I still enjoyed it.
No, I totally agree. Like, I think they're good.
Getting your colonoscopies.
right. PSA. I think they're enjoyable, but again, I can't help but think every time I watch them, especially the earlier episodes, that they're trying to push us into polygamy like it's an option. And one of the things that kind of I won't say lightweight annoys me that every time they talk about monogamous or whatever, they always kind of route us down to the lowest denominator. Like when we're sitting here and they're thinking about like when they did the whole, was it a girl time or fun time, girls good times, and they say, when monogamous women think of us, they look at us and say, how could you possibly share your man with another woman? Like, that's not the only part of monogamy that women are thinking about. Like, whether somebody else is sleeping with their man, that's part of it. It's a big part of it. But that's not the only thing they're referring to. When people talk about monogamy, they're also talking about resources. They're talking about time. They're talking about attention. They're talking about having their needs met, making sure that they're able to be fulfilled in that relationship, making sure that they have an equal say and contribution to the life and lifestyle that they're investing in. That's what it is. It's not just whether you get to sleep with 4 or 5 different women that turn some people away from polygamy, but it's those other things too. And if you don't want us to break you down, you just want to sleep with a whole bunch of people, that's why you're doing it, then don't try to delineate us by saying that we get jealous of people sleeping with a whole bunch of other folks. So we could show that respect to one another. I would appreciate it, Robin. I'm just saying,
First of all, you guys don't like the fact that other women are sleeping with your husband. You just
right.
agreed to it.
Right.
Yeah.
No hear, no see. I don't think about it. We don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's happening and they just stay. So it's okay. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but it's not like you're like, yeah, he's going over to bang out Janelle. You know what I mean? You mad and you can't even hug. And that's the thing too. Like you're making a conscious notation that you can't even hug or show affection to this guy in front of the other women because it'll be a problem. But then at the same time, you're saying that monogamous people, they just get jealous. You guys are jealous. You can't even, if he comes into the room and he has a conversation with one of the wives for too long, it's a problem. And he get yelled at in the car. So, I mean, what are we doing? Let's just keep it all the way a stack. Everybody gets jealous because it's not a bad thing that you get jealous when you're being mistreated.
Like maybe it's not normal in the animal kingdom or whatever Cody tries to say about like monogamy not being the norm, but like I feel like watching someone sleep with your man is certainly like against human nature. Who is gonna root that on?
Right. Well, my favorite part, like, because it's always one of my personal pet peeves, is when they do the comparison of the wild kingdom, and they say, it's like polygamy because if you look at the mighty lion, he has a bunch of lionesses, but those aren't lifetime commitments. The moment that male lion is no longer useful to those lionesses, they put his ass out and he gets replaced. So let's not live that lifestyle because you don't want to write that check because your ass can't cash it. You don't want to live that life. Like, so let's stop pretending like this is okay and this is what we're trying to emulate, because half the guys who would sit there and say that this is the way it should be couldn't keep these women happy. And if you can't keep them happy, you can't provide for them, you can't give them the things they need and the things that they want, then your ass is out. Cody, you would have been going a long time ago because these lionesses, if you were in nature, these lionesses wouldn't have been sitting around waiting for you to come over to their house crying because you don't come and spend time with them and don't spend time and nourish their kids. They would have put you out and you would have either got put out or you would have starved to death. You know what I mean? Because they'd stop hunting for you because of what the quiet is kept. Those lionesses are nasty mothers, boy. If you ever watch the Nature Channel, everybody's scared of them boy lions. It's them women, boy.
There's a lot of species where it's the females are the
Ooh.
Yep.
Them gazelles, man, them women give them gazelles a hard way to go, Jack. Like they on their back. You know what I mean? The male lion, he's like running after them, but it's them women riding their backs down into the ground. I'm telling you, them ladies ain't no joke. They ain't no joke.
Well, I think on that note, that was episodes 5 and 6. Let's wish James one more happy birthday.
All right. All right. Yay!
Yeah.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Everyone, what do you guys have coming up? James, what do you have in the pipeline?
Well, I have a video this week. I am definitely releasing because I got my studio set up. So I'm definitely releasing my Christine video. So keep an eye out for that. That will be dropping in the next couple of days for sure. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
How about you, Amanda?
Yeah, I'm gonna release my finale recap in a couple of days. So got that coming down the pipe.
Wait. I cannot.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, have a wonderful evening, and we will see you in our next videos respectively, and we will see you all back here on Monday. So take care.
All right.
Everyone.
Happy birthday!